back to Hit Away Hurts. We are back again with a brand new episode for you all, educating you on the latest things, our lives, and just everything in life, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Like, you know, one thing that I want to update everyone on is that I have a massive fly in this room, and if it comes on me, the podcast's over, right? So if you see me end and something happens, I didn't die, but I'm currently battling a fly. But anyway, if you're new here, welcome. Thank you so much for coming to Hit It Where It Hurts. We speak through small business owner struggles, and we speak through basically anything that's interesting, anything that's modern. Me and Mark argue 24/7 hours of the day, and yeah, that's basically all we're about. Today, Mark is messaging me, abusing me because I fucked his camera. So
Oh no, every time.
every single time. I know, I'm horrible. So, since you want to do that, why don't you tell them what the episode's about today?
Alright, so for everyone here, today the episode is about, I know you saw it from the title, but the episode is going to be about how people lie in business, what it really is about, the behind the scenes and all that shit.
Yeah, so basically, like, you know, there's lots of myths that scare people from starting their own business, right? The main one is starting off, right? Like, if we take it right back to when we first chose to start a business, and we're not talking social media, we're talking about all the businesses we start, whether it's card flipping, shisha at your door, whatever it is, right? Like, there's
Hey, what's up, videos?
that
This is
we didn't
Jack
want to do because we heard so many things, right? And my man said stop shouting. I'm Lebanese. It's my inside voice. I'm sorry. Anyway, so today we're going to be talking about, like, you know, the difficulties of starting a business and what's actually real and what's not. Let me tell you the first thing that's actually real. That's
Tell
time.
us.
It's going to take a lot of time and effort, right? And I think you can't deny that. And when someone says, oh, it's easy to start a business, that's obviously a lie. But when people say it's too expensive to start a business, or when people say, you know, you don't have it in you, you need to hire someone to start your own business, that's straight cap.
Yeah, exactly. And like we're not trying to be the online gurus saying, oh, it takes $5 to start a business. No, it takes some capital, but it's really like you can afford a business startup these days. We're not talking about starting a brick and mortar, because of course that shit costs hella money to start a brick and mortar, but we're talking you can literally go and start an e-commerce store, like, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not coming, like I just said before, I'm not coming from a guru kind of thing saying, oh, it takes 2 simple steps to create a website, put a product and make money. No, it's not all that shit, but like that's what we're saying. It's really simple these days to start it, but this is where the but comes in. It's really hard with how you go with it, the behind the scenes, the consistency and all that shit that comes with starting a business.
And we're speaking from experience, you know, like people, we don't want to say that it's easy, and we don't want to sit here and tell people that the things we got told were hard weren't hard. They were hard, but like, for example, if you want to start a business, right? Like, let's say it's an e-commerce website, right? Like, let's just say, like, registering the name, right? Registering your business name, registering the website. People make it out like it's some huge issue, right? But it's really not. Like, it's really not that expensive as well.
Yeah.
And so when people, like, really sit down, like, so many times people have messaged me and have business ideas, right?
Yeah.
And they have business ideas and they're too scared to start it because they're like, oh, I don't have enough money. I'm like, hang on a minute. Why do you need money right now? Like, what are you trying? Like, what do you actually need the money for? Oh, by default, don't I need 1,000 to start a business? Who? What? Who told you that, right? Like, for example, shisha your door, bro. I'd say I earned a lot from it, and that was only $700 invested, right? At the start. So for me, that $700 was so scary for me because I'm like, oh, you know, I'm under the 1,000 mark. I don't know why, but when I was younger, I thought that you had to invest by default $1,000 to make a business. I don't know why. It's just my opinion, right? Like, I genuinely thought. So I'm like, I have to wait till I'm like comfortable enough to invest 1,000, blah blah blah, and it ended up being like 600 to 700. So the first thing is, no, you don't need to have all the money in the world to start a business. Do you need to have something sustainable and something that you can fall back on? For sure, like 100%. But you don't need thousands to buy heaps of, you know, stock or whatever. You don't need thousands of to get business advice. You don't need that, right? You don't need
Exactly.
And that's like one of the biggest limitations, right? Like, whether it's time or money, those 2 big limitations is what holding people back from starting their business. I know this because they message me. They're like, oh, like, you know, like, I want to start a nail salon, right? And I don't know how much it's going to cost, right? And I'm like, well, how much did you spend on your Da Vinci shirt? How much did you spend on those?
Givenchy.
Givenchy, I'm import. How much did you spend on those Louis Vuitton shoes, right?
Yeah.
Like those red bottoms. You know what I mean? It's like they have the money. It's just when you invest it into something that you don't know is gonna profit, you get scared, and that's the nature of business, right? Everything you do, it doesn't have an expected outcome. It has, you learn from it if you lose, and you win from it if you win. Period. You know, that's it.
100%.
And I think, yeah.
Yeah, and just before I continue with what I was gonna say, Luke Farrow here said, "Who's today's special guest?" So, yeah, so let me rephrase. So, from Mondays to Friday to Sundays, we do this every night at 8:30. We have a special guest once or twice a week, but today there's no special guest. We'll keep you updated on the upcoming one soon.
Who knows? Who knows? Yes. We might have someone walk in. Who knows?
Exactly, the flight.
The flight, yeah.
Yeah, now let's continue on like discussing how long it really takes to start a business and like the struggles behind it. And from experience, we'll talk about Zorus Media. Right. Actually, let's go back to Shisha Yodo.
Yeah.
So Shisha Yodo was the first business that me and Mark actually started, and with that came a lot of like shit to do with it, right? When we first sat down and thought of it, it was easy, it was fun, we were happy, we were excited to do all that shit. But what we didn't know was what's gonna come with it. It didn't take long to start it. All we had to do was literally just get the money, buy the shishas, all that shit, and then we literally just set a date and then we started it. But when we started it, that's when all that, like, we didn't know about stress. We didn't even know what stress was, the definition of stress. When that
didn't know what sleep was as well.
Exactly, like that's like when that started, that's when we found that stress really existed, anxiety was a big thing, and we got caught in something over our heads, and we had to literally learn through to understand what it takes to run a business and how long it takes to start one.
And can I be honest? 90% of you watching who are trying to start a business, you guys have one issue. You've been in the planning phase for 3 years. It's been 3 years you've been thinking about planning this business. Let me tell you, if you want a 3-year plan, yes, your business will most likely, God willing, will be profitable if you're planning it for 3 years, all right? You better have the best fucking stock. You better have, like top of the range shit if it took you 3 years.
Yeah.
If you're starting a business off a month idea, it's not a bad idea, right? You may struggle, like you're going to learn as you go, but the issue is starting. It's just like my assignments, okay?
Yeah.
I leave them until like fucking 3 weeks later, but if I had started them, I would have at least learned something, right? And that's the thing with anything in life, that if you don't start, you'll never know, right?
Exactly.
And while we say that planning is important, right? Know what your product or service is about. Know about your marketing strategy. Tell your story. Blah blah blah. Start. Make the mistake. Make a fool of yourself. Because if we had not learned from all of our old businesses, we would have never gotten to this point. Never. Right? We took, I'd say, 7 months for planning for this business. Right?
Honestly, 7 months, yeah.
I'd say 3 months was procrastination on my part. All right, I'd say 3 months was procrastination, and 4 months was straight planning because we knew, right? But for a lot of you, you won't know, and that's fine because we were there, right? And we still we still made profit, right? Not a lot, bad profit, but we still profitable.
Yeah, and like if we knew earlier that we should have just started and trialed and error, we would have started way earlier instead of spending 7 months on like planning. And
100%.
There's a quote that I've heard before, and there's a quote I heard before, and it was, if you're going to fail big. Because you gotta take action, and then you gotta learn from your failures, because those failures are what's gonna make you succeed.
Yeah.
Like let's look at it this way, right?
Yeah.
You have a business in mind right now, and you don't want to start because you're like, I got a plan, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, I gotta do that, this. You know what I mean? But what you don't understand is you can literally start right now, because that's how you learn to manage your business. That's how you learn to cope with it. That's how you learn to make sales through it, because you can't just be planning is all theoretical, right? That's how I look at it. But planning is good, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, if you're taking too much time to plan, that just goes wrong, and then you will not go and execute on that idea.
And let me tell you it from a perfectionist point of view.
Yeah.
Like when I'm planning, bro, I'm like, this needs to happen, this needs to happen, this needs to happen, right?
Yeah.
But let me tell you, it's like business is nothing like that. There is so much shit that happens that changes your plan. It is crazy, right?
Yeah.
We could have a plan to make $1 million by 2022, and we could have every single step of the way certified by the best business advisor in the world,
Yeah.
right? But let me tell you something. If you don't account for variable change, any business that sticks to a plan through everything,
Yeah.
they don't succeed. You have to account for variable change, and that's why the planning phase, while important, should not have more importance over your execution. And I've said it so many times, and I'm gonna fucking say it again. I'm sure people are sick of hearing it. If you spend 90% of your life thinking about it and 10% executing, you're never gonna get anywhere. 9% executing and 10% thinking about it, and it's not just saying this as like, oh, like it's a quirky quote, you know, we heard it. Like we're saying because the experience you gain, it's so early. Most of our audience are like 19 to 24. You have so many years ahead of you to learn. If you start a business and you don't like it and you go broke, there's so much time to learn, and the knowledge that you learn, right? The knowledge that you learn from going broke goes straight into your next business, right? And it does take mental hardship, I agree. I mean, I never knew that starting a business and running it would hurt so bad on, like, you know, you go for a week full of 6 sales a day to get to a place where you hit 2 sales, maybe 1 sale, right? And it's like, bro, fuck this. Like what a waste of time, right?
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of mental hardship. And if you want to know if you're capable of it, because so many people are like, oh, why would I start a business? I know nothing about business. Okay, did you convince your mom to go to the cinemas when you were younger? Did you sell yourself to your teacher when you were presenting and you knew nothing about the PowerPoint? You know about business, right? You know about sales. Experiment. Find out what your strengths are, right?
It's literally all about the power of convincing, and like when you're doing selling, you do it without realizing, because sales is all about selling without selling. And we were talking about planning before, and I want to talk about the importance of planning, because I know I said before you shouldn't focus all on planning, but I did say that planning can be important aspect of any business. So when you're planning a business, like, you got to take into account your competition. You got to set your SMART goals in place. You got to know what the bigger picture for your business is. So like, set a goal in the future, like set a goal like now for the future of what you want it to be, like a 5-year goal, maybe 12-month goal, maybe, right? And then use that goal to break it down into smaller ones. So we've talked about all these goal setting and shit. So if you want to watch that video, go watch it. We explain it more deeper, but you should really plan it like in depth, but not like, look, not spending 1 year planning. This is like 1 week, 1 month kind of planning type of shit.
Can I just say, like, you're never going to get to the point where that plan is comfortable. Can I tell you why? Because in your head, a plan is comfortable when you know it's going to work. But let me tell you something. No business knew it was going to work. No one. No one. Not one business. Every multi-millionaire company started on a belief, on a passion, a gap in the market, something. Right? But they didn't know they were going to succeed. They didn't know they were going to make this amount of money. They didn't know they were going to profit off their investment, right? And so your whole life, and I'm saying it because I was in that position. You're chasing this wild dream that you're going to get this crazy business idea. It's going to be fantastic. You're going to sell out on your first day. It's fucking perfect. It doesn't work like that, right? And let me tell you something. If you don't feel comfortable with your plan, Google is there, bro. like there's so many online resources that can teach you, right? Go to Google Drive. What is it called? Google Classroom? Google Classroom?
What's that?
Look up.
Google Classroom. No, Google Classroom is the shit we used back in high school, bro. Google Trends.
Oh, whatever.
Are you talking about Google Trends?
No, we're talking about those free courses that teach you stuff about business on Google.
Oh yeah, just type up Google. Oh, it's Skillshare.
Skillshare, that's the one. Yeah, and like, you know, do that, right? Do that. And you're not meant to know everything when you start a business. Please understand that. You're not meant to be a business expert. You're not meant to know how much you're going to lose, how much you're going to win. It's good to know, but if you don't, experiment, right? And the execution teaches you so much about the plan and how it's working and how it's not working. The best thing that you can learn with business is going straight in the deep end, honestly. Like,
100%.
some people say, oh, that's such bad advice, bro. You're going to make someone go broke. bro, go hit yourself in the deep end. With money that you can afford to lose, with money that you would have spent at Coachella or whatever, go put yourself in a deep end in your business and see how you can swim, right? And learn from it and hit back again.
And can I just be honest? I don't want to like throw shade at anyone or anything, but a lot of people say they want to start a business and then the next day they're talking about traveling all around Europe, spending 10 grand that they've saved up to travel, but they're scared to spend that 10 grand or even 1 grand to literally start a business. That's what I don't get, but that's like a whole other topic to talk about. But yeah.
Like the reason we did this episode is because me and Mark get messages every day, right? And shout out to those people who message us because we wouldn't know, right? We thought everyone would be past this by now, but they're still going through it. That, you know, like, why should I start a business? I know nothing about business. You know, I don't know how to sell. I don't know if my product or service is going to be good. Cool, no one did. Steve Jobs didn't know. Bill Gates didn't know. Elon Musk didn't know.
100%.
They wouldn't have known, bro. No one knows anything, right? And the issue with business and perfectionists is that there's so much uncertainty in business that a perfectionist can't overcome it. And I'm one that took long. Don't worry about the baby screaming. He probably just saw the fly. Anyway, so it's like, make that change in your mindset that you go from I will succeed to I will try my best to succeed and learn from it. The number one thing that people lied to me about in business is that I had to have everything planned out and I had to have it all set up from here to here to be a successful business. It's not true, right? No. And especially when it's your first business, especially.
100%, bro. And like, you just, like Mark said, honestly, just go into the deep end because you're not gonna learn if you're just sitting there procrastinating whether you should start one or not. Like me and Mark, we've lost money starting side hustles. And that's what it's about. We're not saying you're gonna start a business, you're gonna be driving a Lamborghini the next day. No, you're gonna fucking lose money. You're gonna lose money. That's what I'm gonna say. You're gonna be in the negative balance for so long until you start making money. It's not that easy. It's not like how those gurus on TikTok and shit make it look like oh, look at me, I'm in my Lamborghini. Oh, look at my mansion. Is that, you know what that took? All it took is one product to is that, oh, you don't even have to buy the product. You can just, no, that's all literally just, yes, you can do that. Yes, that you can make a lot of money from doing that, but it does take a lot of hard work. It does take a lot of money. It does take a lot of trial and error because those people literally had to make so many websites, so many different products, had to put so much money into these small e-com businesses to find a winning product that can win and generate them 6 figures. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. And we speak about it all the time because it's true. Like if you look at, you know, the owner of Udi, he even said, like, you know, you don't have to take it from us. We're not millionaires yet, right? Don't take it from us. We don't have any certifications to say, oh, this is exact. But Udi started about 4 businesses, failed every single one till he got to Udi. Now he's made 7 successful since then, right? And it's proven in business that you can't know till you try. You can't know what your consumers are gonna want until you try it, right? You can't predict the market. You can be close, but you can't make it 100%. Exactly. And that's the most important thing we want to get across, that you will never get to that point of being comfortable. Rather than making your idea perfect, make the moment perfect to go into it. And then start to thrive.
But and that guy literally lost $40,000. He got scammed of $40,000, all his life savings. Exactly. But that's the thing. He put himself in the deep end, but he didn't stop when he lost. He got up and he learned from his failures, and that's what we're saying. Like you gotta keep pushing through until you find that winning thing for you.
For sure. So just overall, that's like bullshit, straight bullshit. There's no perfect moment to start a business. It's when you're actually, it's not when you're ready actually. It's when you know that not being ready is the bad decision. That's when you start a business. When you know that the more you wait, the less you're executing.
I don't know if you've heard this saying, but they say the successful decisions always come from the bad ones.
100. Yeah. It's so true, bro. It's so true. Like, there's so many times when we've done something and we're like, fuck, bro. Like, that was so shit, right? But then, like, what we learned from it and put it into action, we, like, profit off like crazy, right? We get, like, amazing things from that. right? And until people do it, they won't believe us, right?
Yeah.
Until someone chucks themselves in the deep end and misses their sale for 6 months and realizes this isn't their niche or whatever, right? It's like they won't know, you know? And then they say, oh, like, I don't know what my passion is. Like, how am I meant to turn my passion into a business? I don't know. Try. The fuck? Try. How am I meant to know what your passion is? You know, I didn't know what my passion was. I didn't know I had a passion for helping people,
Yeah.
you know? Like, I honestly did not know. But I thought my passion was gaming when I was younger.
You just never know. You just never know until you try. You gotta go out and try. And did you have anything else to say on that one? On that point?
Nah, let's move on.
Alright, so
We
we're
went long for that one, but it's the most important one.
it is, it honestly is. And we're gonna talk about delegating duties, and this can be towards like people that, like, say like me and Mark are in a partnership. It can be to just a sole trader who has employees under him, and yeah, so it can be to those people. And do you want to start us off, Mark?
Yeah, sure. So I think delegating duties is something that is good and bad. And let me tell you why. People have this mindset that you can't start a podcast without a production team.
Yeah.
We don't have a production team. People have this mindset that you can't build a website without a website developer. Cap. People have this mindset that you need like fucking a group of 50 people covering operations, covering sales, covering customer service, PR. Cap. Okay? Now, delegating duties when you make a lot of profit, sure, it's important, right? Because then you could start to focus on the core of your business, and the mandatory things, for example, like posting daily, you know, replying to this person, answering this email. These things are all short-term things that are very important, but they're repetitive and they don't need the same effort that you would put into creating more ideas for your business, becoming more innovative, planning out the next step, right? And that's why delegating duties is important, but do not get under the impression that you need anything, okay?
Yeah.
You don't need anything, it helps. That's the biggest thing. Until you're making too much to handle, and you will know, trust me, you'll know when you're making too much to handle, right? Because when we speak to the business owners that we take in, we're like, you know, what made you want to hire a social media? And we look, and they have about 150 unopened DMs, right?
Yeah.
They haven't posted on Instagram in 7 months, right?
Literally.
I'm like, all right, fair enough. Like, I could see you're struggling, right? Because they're too busy making sales. They're too busy taking business calls, planning out the next step of their business. That's fine. But when you start, you don't need a team. You do not. That's the misconception I wanted to point out.
And like, look at me and Mark. We started this, which like we had experience in social media, but I wasn't that good at editing. Mark wasn't like, I don't think like your articles were the best back then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, our LinkedIn SSI score is in the top 13%. Like,
30% of the industry.
like if we thought about that like 6 months ago, we'd be like, no, we're not gonna, you know what I mean? And like, Mark knew nothing about LinkedIn, zero. I knew nothing about LinkedIn, right? But it all takes figuring shit out, like trial and error, going to the deep end, and we figured that shit out and we got in. And yesterday we were in a clubhouse meeting, and our LinkedIn is different to everyone, right? And we got one lady saw our LinkedIn, and she's like a specialist, yeah, and she said, I don't think your profile should be like that because it's not gonna generate anything. And she got roasted by literally all the other specialists because they told her that us being different separates us from all the market and makes us unique in a niche, which really does. And we won that, honestly. And let me tell
that's what we're trying to do.
yeah, and let me tell you about like more about the delegating and shit. Like right now, me and Mark, we've set aside like what one can do, what the other can do, and it's like having a good communication in place and shit like that. You can figure shit out and let each other know like who's doing what, this, that.
don't get me wrong. I'm not saying don't ever hire a team. You know, teams are important,
Yeah.
but you don't need it to start a business. I just want to get past that misconception. Too many of you think you need 20 people to scrub your toes while you make a business. It doesn't work like
Nah.
that. Okay. Second thing is, when you're building a business, the most important factor that you have to have with people in common with your business is that they see the vision that you see. If they don't see your business helping out 1 million people like you want it to, then they're not gonna thrive, right? The
Yeah.
reason so many business owners hire because they're not caring about their actual employer. Let me tell you something. We're under the impression that employees are meant to work for the CEOs. It's the other way around.
It's
You
the
want
other
an
way.
employee to care. The CEO is meant to work for the employee. You are meant to accustom yourself to your employees' needs. Why? Because they see the vision in common with you, and that's rare. So that's why it comes down to understanding who sees it and who doesn't, right? And let me tell you something. People don't see visions for a long time. So when you find the right person that does, grab him. Grab him and don't let go.
Exactly.
Because, bro, when we started Shisha Out Your Door, no one wanted nothing to do with it. No one, right? The minute we've got 64K reach on our first post, organic.
Organic, not paid.
Everyone wants an employee now. Everyone wants to work for Shisha.
Exactly.
Everyone wants a Shisha, right?
Yeah.
And it's like you have to watch out for these things, because if you're building a team around people who have the most money, people who have the most experience, people who have this, people who have that, you didn't have that. You didn't have that experience, that money, that this, right? So then how do you expect them to align with you in your work, right?
Yeah.
And that's the main thing when building a team. If you do not have a vision in common, you will not thrive, and you will be firing and hiring, as most business owners do nowadays.
100%. Let me just say one last spot on that. When you first start out and you got all the responsibilities, all the shit that you're doing, you don't have a team behind you, you're gonna be working 10 times harder than anyone out there, right? And you can't be hard on yourself saying, oh, why am I working harder than this? Why are they taking it easy, this, that? That's because they were in the same spot as you were when they started, but now they worked through it. And that's what you gotta do. You just gotta push through it, and one day you're gonna have a team. And like me and Mark, we have like we don't have like a team, but we have people behind us, backing us up.
Yeah.
And when we need help, we go to them for help and shit like that, and they help us. And yeah.
For sure. All right, let's get to wrapping up the episode. Just give me a moment.
Say less.
So,
Do you wanna shout out one of the businesses?
yeah, sure. So, guys, at the end of every single Hit It Where It Hurts episode, we shout out one business owner, hopefully locally. Most of the time, we have a sign-up sheet. It's on our Facebook page. It's in our link on Zoris Media on IG. Today, we're going to be shouting out. Do you have him up right now?
Yeah, it's up.
All right, sweet. So today we're shouting out Advanced Power Solutions, an electrical company based in Mickleham. They are an amazing electrical company. They make sales all the time. Support your local business owners, and yeah, just contact them. Their IG's there. I'll drop their email in the chat. Stay around, and if you want any more details, just DM me or the page directly.
That's it, guys, and that's it from us. If you guys need any help with anything, always drop in our DMs. We're here to help you. And yeah, just make sure you're here on Thursday. We have a special guest. We'll let you know tomorrow who that is. We're not gonna share the person today. But yeah, make sure you save the date, Thursday. What time, Mark?
Oh yeah, now you hit me with the time.
We'll tell you tomorrow. We'll tell you tomorrow. All right.
As you can tell, I'm very organized. All right. Peace out, guys. Thank you so much for watching. We're live every single night at 8:30 p.m. Hit It Where It Hurts. Thank you so much. We love you all. Peace.
And last thing, make sure to check out YouTube. We're posting new content, clips of the episodes, shorter ones, so you can check them out if you don't want to watch the whole thing.